Hey, how are you? Today I have something exciting to share with you. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, but I've had other writing projects on my plate before and that I've had to wrap up. But now that those projects are done, I have been working on something new for the last few weeks. And what's exciting is that for the first time ever, I'm going into this new writing project with a new mindset as well and some specific business goals. And I think it'll be really interesting and helpful for you as well, because if you're in the same boat as me and you've been in this indie publishing game for, several months or even a few years and you're still not seeing the sales and results that you want, you're probably like me, like you're ready to take your author business to the next level. You've kind of been like in this kind of middle kind of level where you're not a complete beginner. You've been around and you kind of know what's going on in the indie publishing world and you've made a few sales, you've published a book or two, but you're also not where you want to be at all. And so this is what my next writing project really is about, is just taking my whole author business to the next level financially and, just overall. So as I start telling you about this, if you want to share where you are on your publishing journey, I'd love to hear it. So if you have anything from your story to share, anything that you relate to, or if you just want to say, how far you've come as an author, if you have any questions for me as well, I'd love to hear them. So make sure you share them in the comments. Let's see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So let me give you a little bit of background on all of this, and if you're new, you can also find out a little bit more about me at the same time. And so I'm Yesenia. I started writing in 2011 while I was on the brink of becoming a parent, and I was student teaching. I was in college. And I made practically zero money until 2015 when I relaunched my YA romance series. So in 2011, I wrote my first book. It was horrible, and it just really taught me that I could finish a whole book. Fast forward until New Year's Eve 2013 when I finally wrote a first real book that I could be proud to share and publish on Amazon, and I finally did hit publish after lots of obstacles and editing issues and all that kind of stuff. Finally hit publish on it New Year's Eve 2013. And then fast forward again to 2015, middle of the year, I had 2 books out now in that first YA romance series, and I was pretty much making 0 sales. I was literally selling 1, maybe 2 books a month. A lot of months I was just selling 0 copies of my books, and it really sucked. But now that I was kind of in this whole indie publishing thing, I just had to stay, I couldn't leave. I had made a choice and I just knew I had to keep trying and keep at it. Ever since the middle of 2015, I kind of took a step back. I relaunched the series, I put out a new book, and ever since then, that was a pretty good success. I didn't blow anything out of the park or become an immediate bestseller or anything like that, but I did finally start seeing some sales, and ever since then I've been making a part-time income, and it's always ranged from $300 to $1,000 a month on a really good month, but not consistently. And so that's kind of been my story since 2015. I now have 2 complete YA romance series, 8 books total, 7 of which are available for sale on Amazon, and 1 that I use as a lead magnet for my newsletter, for my mailing list. But I have never been able to get above $1,000 a month, and it's even gone lower to the $500 range recently, just because I've burnt out a lot in the last year or so. And I had a baby, and I've had a job, and just being a mom, and all these other things going on in my life that I've burnt out a lot recently, and I just had other stuff going on, and so I've never been able to put in all the time and effort that I've really wanted. And so I've been relatively happy with making that amount of money a month, but now I'm kind of ready to amp that up and take my business to the next level. The baby's getting a little bit older. I can drop her off to the sitter a few days a week now with no problem, so I can put in at least part-time hours. And my oldest is 5 and she's in school during the day, so that's great. Although they still take up a lot of my time, and like purposely, like I want to be spending a lot of time with them, and you know, we get involved in their activities. Like that's another reason I love being my own boss, and that I started this kind of business so I can be there for them. But at the same time, like I really want to make a living at this, and I feel like I'm finally starting to get to that place again where, well, again, I say again, but I don't know if I was ever really there, to be honest, because in the past I was either in school, finishing up college, or I had a baby at the same time, and then I was a part-time teacher, which, let me tell you, is pretty much like being a full-time teacher, and full-time teaching is pretty much like having 2 jobs, just FYI. And then I had another baby, and then, like I said, now she's a little bit older, she's a year now, and I can drop her off, and I quit my job, and so now this is like just being a mom and running this business are like the only things that I'm doing now, and I've cut out like a lot of other stuff from my life just so I can like make time for this, for being a parent and for being a writer, because those are like my 2 priorities right now, which is hence writer mom. But I guess I'm just ready now to kind of like take everything to the next level, and I'm ready, like mindset wise. I have a little bit of more time, a little bit more energy to do it, and so I'm just ready. Like I've seen a lot of other authors kind of like come out of nowhere and like start making a full-time income at this. Other authors who are just like putting in all this work and effort, and they're like, they know where it's at and they're like succeeding, and I'm ready to be one of those authors. And like I said, I'm really happy that I was already able to take my business from like 0 to like $500-$600 a month consistently, but I'm ready to go to the next level, because it's been since 2014 that I've been an author, and now it's 2017, almost 2018, and so I'm ready to take things up a notch or 2. And so let me tell you a little bit of like why I think I've been stuck in that like $300 to $1,000 a month range. And I think it's because I've always written primarily for love, even if I didn't always realize it or even think about it in the past. Of course, since the beginning, like that's pretty much the reason that I got into indie publishing, is because like I could do it. No one else would have to, you know, tell me that, you know, give me permission to publish my book, you know, through a traditional publisher or getting an agent or anything like that. And this was like one of my lifelong dreams, was to write a book and become an author, and so now that I could do it, like I just did it. So it was just for love. It's just why I started this indie author business, and I just wanted to write and share my books with the world, and the fact that I could make a little bit of money doing that like was just amazing to me. But I also never thought, I wasn't one of those people that said, oh, if I never make a penny out of this, like I don't care. Like that has definitely never been me, because of course I wanted to make a living at this. Like, you mean I can do something that I love and make money? Like, of course. And so when I started out, for like the first 18 months, when I was literally making pennies in book sales, like it just really, really sucked. It broke my heart every month to go into the KDP dashboard, and I only had like a book sale. So when I finally relaunched the series, you know, a year and a half after starting out, and I started to see like some part-time money, like that was really, really exciting, and it felt great. And like I knew that this whole like successful indie author thing could also happen to me, you know, because I was seeing a bunch of other authors doing it, but like in the back of my mind, I always thought like, well, that's them. Like they're different. Obviously they're smarter. They're doing something different that's working for them, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know that I'll ever be able to, you know, do what they're doing. But when I saw like those book sales starting to come in, like $300, $500, $1,000, like I knew I was on the right path and that I could do it too. And so it's been 2 years now since I relaunched those 2 books, and I started making like a part-time income. And I've published 6 more books, so I now have 7 books available for sale. Like I said, I have 1 that's not published anymore. It's just a reader magnet. And I'm still making pretty much the same amount. And it's super frustrating. It is so frustrating, because I've always heard that, like, you know, writing the next book is the best marketing you can do. And people saying like, oh, once I hit book 3, I started like all of a sudden making, 3 figures a month or 5 figures a month, or a lot of people saying like once you get to like 5 or 6 books, like you'll really start to see like everything build up, and it just like, I don't know, it's like this magical thing happens, and all of a sudden like people find out about you, and like you start making like 5 figures a month. Like, that's what I always heard. And so I always just kept telling myself like, yeah, these sales kind of like, they're not the best. It's only $300, or it's only $500, and this other author's making like $5,000 or $10,000, and I wanted to be them. But I was just told myself, just keep writing, just keep putting out more books, and eventually you'll get there. Like, it just has to happen eventually. It's just a matter of time, because if you keep putting out more books, like eventually like you have to make more money, right? And so it's really sucked that I've done that. I've put out 2 books a year consistently, and I wish it was more, but like I said, I've been a teacher, I've been in college, I've had 2 kids, like and when you're a teacher, let me tell you, like, you're not just a teacher, you're also like a coach or this or that, or volunteering, or parent meetings and all this stuff. And so I've always had like a ton of stuff going on until recently. Like I said, I've just cut out like a lot of stuff to be able to focus on this and on my kids. But I've put out all of these books and I'm still making the same amount. I'm just like, what the heck is happening here? Like, why am I not making any more money? But, at the same time, I also realize a lot of it is probably my fault, because, my circumstances, and a lot of times because I've had all this stuff going on, like, I've burnt out a few times just because I've always done so much, and I've learned that lesson the hard way, having another baby, not always being able to publish, like, consistently, like, every 6 months. It's always been, like, 2 books in like 2 months, and then like, and then another book like 9 months later. Like, it's not actually consistent. Like, it averages out to 2 books a year, but it's never actually been consistent. And if I could have done 3 or 4 books a year instead, that would have been a lot better. But I wasn't in that season of life where I could do that like other writers. So I know that's like a huge reason that I haven't been able to become a full-time author, is that I know like other people are just at different stages of life, their kids are already grown or anything like that, and so they're in different circumstances where they can put in so much more time and energy into becoming a full-time author. So I think if I had been in different circumstances, like, things would have been a lot different, but that's fine. Like, I'm not worried about it. Like, I know I can be in that place now a little bit more, and so that's what I'm focusing on. And then at the same time, I think another huge reason behind all of this is that the books that I've written in the past have never been written with any kind of business or marketing forethought, and I've just always written the stories that were in my head and that were calling to me and that I just really wanted to write the most, which is great. Like, I had a great time. I loved it. Like, I've loved writing these stories. These are stories that are going to stay with me the rest of my life, and they're really special. And I think I've also come a long way as a storyteller because of that. But like I said, I'm also ready to take my author business to the next level and write for love and money. Because mama's got to put food on the table and help pay the bills. Because like I said, this is the 2nd year in a row now where I'm just staying home with my kids, and I am working from home as a freelance editor, but mostly trying to grow this author business. And so I've got to get things moving, and it's scary, but I know like I can do it. Like, it's hard to even say that because there's always this little like voice gnawing at you on the inside, like saying like, no, you can't, like everybody else can, but you can't. That's always been like my biggest fear, is that everybody else can do it but not me. Like, for whatever reason, like, I'm never gonna have that kind of success. But I'm just ready to like push that aside and say, yes, like, it is going to be me, and it's gonna be like now. I'm done waiting. I'm ready to be one of those successful full-time indie authors. So let me tell you like what's going on and what I've been doing lately. So I read Chris Fox's book, Right to Market, when it first came out a few years ago, but I didn't really take action on anything until now because, like I said, I was already working on these 2 other series, and I wrapped those up first. Now that I'm ready to like actually take his advice, read his book again. I swear I've read it like 3 times now. And I really am going to give this whole write to market thing a serious try. And I've also learned a lot more about storytelling and marketing since then, so I'm feeling great there. And so this is my plan. So my next series, and probably all of my series from now on, are going to be written to market, because I'm ready to make some serious money at this whole writing thing as I continue to tell amazing stories. Like I said, it's going to be like, like the 2 bubbles, like he says. Something that you love, find something that makes money, and find something in the middle, and that's what I'm going to do. And all of this, as I was thinking about it, kind of took me back to 2011 when I said, it's now or never with this writing thing. I was going to have a baby in a couple of months. I was student teaching. I was up to here with everything that I was doing. But the whole fact that I was having a baby just kind of made me realize, like, I should probably take action on this writing thing. It's been years. I've always wanted to do it. I've always had lots of failed attempts, and I never actually followed through on what, on actually writing a book and telling a story and writing it down. And so I think that kind of pushed me to finally take action and write my first book. And I haven't stopped since then. I had published for the first time in New Year's Eve 2013, and I've published 2 series since then, and I've learned so many lessons since then. Even with just my first book, like, that's what taught me that I can be a writer. Now that I have 8 books out, like, I feel like now I've learned that I can be a successful writer that makes a living at this. And so I'm going to write another YA romance, and I've done the research, and I'm already like reading and studying and doing a bunch of the stuff from the book. And according to his book, to Chris's book, it is a hungry genre, and it should be one that I can succeed in. And I am excited because I've built up a small fan base for myself already. I have a mailing list with a few thousand subscribers. And, a lot of these readers in this YA romance space, I think a good portion of them have already heard of me or tried my books, or like at least seen my name and my books on the charts pretty frequently. And so I do think I have an advantage there. So I'm excited about that. And another reason that I'm kind of pumped is because, I'm coming in with this advantage, because I'm coming in a lot smarter this time. The first time around, a lot of it was just having fun and learning what I'm doing and learning how to write, how to tell a story. But now I'm just coming with this whole new mindset, and I'm just ready. I'm ready to kill it in the YA romance space. I'm ready to take the time and do the work to study the top books in the category. I'm reading the books in there. I'm already learning a lot and paying attention to the reviews and the tropes, and watching all the YA kind of romance movies on Netflix. And I'm just going step by step in Chris's book, taking lots of notes. I already have like a special notebook where I've started taking some notes. Let me just show you really quick. So I've already taken a few pages of notes, going through the book, literally like step by step, doing all the exercises in the book, studying the charts on Amazon, and I'm just ready, you guys. I am so ready. Like, I feel this has been a long time coming, and I'm just ready to hit it out of the park with my next series. And I really wish that I could like write really, really fast. Like, I am a fast writer, but like I said, I don't always have like all the time I wish I could put into this. So if I could have, like, I would like put something out by the end of the year, but it's probably going to be like beginning of next year. But in the meantime, I'm gonna write 2 or 3 books, have them ready to go, read everything, every best-selling book in the genre, study the heck out of them, and just do an amazing job with my next series. Like, my last 2 series have just always done like, okay. Like, they've made the hot new releases charts for their categories, but they've never been like number 1 in their categories upon release, or, I've never gotten like a huge amount of sales at all. And so I'm just kind of ready to change that, and I'm just really excited. And like I said, I think you'll learn a lot from this too if you're kind of in the same boat as me, because I'm going to be giving you all of these updates and telling you exactly what I'm doing as I do all of this, telling you what's working, what's not. And And so yeah, I think you should stick around for that, because you're gonna get to see like this experiment that I'm doing, this Right to Market project with my next series, and just see if I can be one of the big names in YA contemporary romance and just hit it out of the park and become a best-selling author. And so I'm going to be getting updates about this. Right now, like I said, I'm live on Facebook every Thursday. I don't know that I'll give you an update every single Thursday, but maybe like every other Thursday I'll give an update on this. And at least once a month, maybe sometimes if there's more stuff going on, I can do an extra video during the week. I'm not sure how all of that's going to work yet, but one of my main reasons for doing this is to kind of do this in public and tell others what I'm doing and share everything that I'm doing, so it helps keep me accountable and just to kind of see what happens and see what others can learn from it. Let me see if I don't want to forget to tell you anything. Oh, I do. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing everything, and my goal is to be making 4 or 5 figures a month. Even more would be great. And you know, it's important to say that part of this is about the money. And again, I'm not writing anything that I'm not absolutely in love with, but I just want to make it like a whole lot better and make it something that readers also really, really want to buy and read, and that they fall in love with as well. Because I do want to make a living at this, and I deserve to make a living at this, you know. This is something that I love to do, and I think I've gotten good at it, and so I just need to align myself a little bit more with what the readers want. So which is why I'm studying all of the main tropes for the genre. And a big part of the money for me is like validation. Like a lot of people get validated when they read their reviews, or like they get emails from their readers, and that's true for me too, but a big part of validation for me as well is like the money that I'm making from this thing that I love. And making my own money and anything has always been important to me. Like, I've never really liked to ask anybody for help, especially for money. Not even for my own parents, not even when I was a kid. I've always liked to make my own money and not need to ask anybody for anything. And for the past couple of years now, my husband has kind of taken the reins on our household income, and he's the one providing the money for all our bills and all of our expenses. And even before that, I was only a part-time teacher, so I could, you know, like not completely burn myself out as a teacher and like still have a little bit of time left over to write and spend time with my kid. And so I'm just ready to provide for our family again as well, and not just part-time. I really want to make like a full-time income, make as much as him, make more than him even, you know, like, and he's fine with that. He's not one of those guys that's like, gets a little bit like uncomfortable if his wife is making more. He's like ready for me to be making more money, and to help provide. So like, I just want both of us to be able to provide financially for our family and to reach financial freedom as a family. I never want money to be like a worry, and it has in the past, and I'm just ready to be done with like money being any kind of a burden or a worry for us. And I know if we both work really hard, we can get there. And he has his own goals and dreams as well. And so that's another kind of like big motivator for me, is that, you know, he's letting me like work on my dream and my goals and making this full-time indie author business a reality. And even in the beginning, like in 2012, when I became a freelance editor and I saw that as a way to bring in some extra income and start a business, like he took a risk on me, and, you know, I took some money from our income as a family to, you know, start that up. And he had a lot of confidence in me, and he trusted me, and you know, that's been a success as well. Even though, like I said, I've never always been able to put all the time that I wanted to into it, but you know, it has worked well, and it's something that I also love to do. And like I said, it's he deserves to take some time off from work. He works really, really hard. He works a lot of hours. And so that's another reason that I want to build this up and start making some real money, so that he can like take a few steps back and not work as hard, not work himself to death. That would be nice. And for him to take some time off to pursue his goals and dreams as well, because he wants to go back to school. He never got to really go to school as much as I did, and so that's something that he wants to do, and I want to like fully support him there. And so yeah, I just wholeheartedly want to do that for him. I want to provide financial freedom for us. And yeah, that's like another big motivator too. So that's a little bit more behind the whole like money part of this as well. You know, money's always going to be a big part of this for me, because I mean, you need money to survive, and it's a big part of validation and freedom for our family. And so yeah, that's kind of like what's going on with me right now. This is what I'm working on right now. For the past few weeks, I've started outlining this new YA romance series, and it's still not very fleshed out. And in the past few days, I've actually taken a step back from outlining to really go back to Chris's book and just like literally do a little bit more research before I keep outlining, so that I'm baking in like the marketing and like just know from the beginning, from now, that this is something that readers are gonna really devour and want more of. And so yeah, right now I'm taking a step back from outlining to just read more of the top selling books in the genre and find out what it is that readers really want. Because I mean, it's not like I've never read books in the genre, but just not as many. I actually tend to read a lot of new adult romance, and even a lot of like books aimed for writers, and productivity books, self-help books, and even books in other genres as well. I do read a lot of romance, so I know how romance works, but I need to read more of like the YA romance, especially the ones in this space and by the indie authors. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'd love to hear what you think about all of this. I'd love to hear where you're at. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. If you have any tips for me, I'd love to hear those as well. And if you don't want to miss out on any of this, go to writermom.net and sign up for my newsletter. You'll see it right there, and you will be the first to know about like future updates on this and how everything's going, what's working, what's not, and any extra inside looks at what's going on. And you'll also get my best tips every Saturday in the Writer Mom newsletter. It's one of my favorite things right now. And on Mondays, you'll also get this roundup of blog posts and things like that I find around the web that I find are really helpful and that I'm learning from. And so yeah, so go sign up at writermom.net to stay up to date on this whole right to market thing and to see how it does and get some other really cool stuff. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Leave any comments below, and I will see you next week. So yeah, have a great rest of your day. Bye.